from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Hello there, good evening and welcome to the National News Broadcast. I'm Niket Karunaratna.
And I'm Dilanjali Ananda. And these are the top stories making headlines for tonight.
Search is on for the cause of the catastrophic implosion after the Titanic sub deaths. The government says complaints can be made if there are unqualified beneficiaries in the Aswasuma list. The President stresses that proper and effective measures will be taken against the challenges faced by middle-income countries. Nanotechnology is utilized for the jewelry industry. 30 migrants died as their vessel capsized in the Atlantic Ocean. On to those and other stories in detail now. A catastrophic implosion is blamed for the deaths of all 5 people on board the deep-sea submersible Titan.
It was traveling to the wreckage of the Titanic at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean.
An ROV, or remote-operated vehicle, from the vessel Horizon Arctic discovered the tail cone of the Titan submersible approximately 1,600 feet from the bow of the Titanic on the seafloor. On behalf of the United States Coast Guard and the entire Unified Command, I offer my deepest condolences to the families.
What was supposed to be a 10-hour journey to the Titanic Shipwreck ended in tragedy, with all 5 passengers on the missing submersible killed in a catastrophic implosion. Their deaths were confirmed Thursday, concluding a week-long search for survivors that was closely watched around the world. The US Navy detected a sound that would match an implosion on Sunday, the day it went missing, and search teams have since found fragments of the Titan submersible, confirming those on board have perished. But many questions still remain as authorities continue searching for debris, including when the implosion happened and what exactly went wrong with the sub. The 5 people on board were pilot Scott Rush, the CEO of OceanGate, the company leading the expedition, British adventurer Hamish Harding, Shahzad and Suleiman Dawood, a father and son from a prominent Pakistani business family, and French undersea explorer and Titanic expert Paul Henry Nerglot. Hollywood film director James Cameron, who directed the movie Titanic, says he knew the Titan submersible had been destroyed less than 24 hours after the vessel lost contact.
A loud bang on the hydrophones, loss of transducer or transponder, loss of comms. I knew what happened. Sub imploded. I sent emails to everybody I know. I said, we've lost some friends. It's on the bottom in pieces right now. I sent that out Monday morning. You know, we may go into hazardous environments like hydrothermal vents, or even to a wreck like Titanic or Bismarck or some of the other wreck sites, which are dangerous from an entanglement standpoint or a structural collapse standpoint. But you never worry about the vehicle, the platform that you're in. You know, I never believed in that technology of wound carbon fiber, you know, wound filament cylindrical hull. I thought it was a horrible idea. OceanGate shouldn't have been doing what it was doing. I think that's pretty clear. I think I was unaware that they weren't certified. A lot of them got together and wrote a letter to OceanGate and said, you have to certify. You cannot take people down. It's irresponsible, and it could lead to catastrophe. They were on descent. They were at 3,500 feet. They lost comms and tracking, the last one being the critical one.
Acting Finance Minister Shehan Semasinghe says that if unqualified families are included in the beneficiaries list of Aswasuma program, complaints can be made against this matter. If there is any qualified family that has not been included in this list, it is able to appeal. The families that have no complaints against them will be provided with the beneficiary allowances from next month. The acting finance minister revealed these facts in the parliament today. Parliamentarian Jagat Kumar said that there are a number of complaints that have been received over the Aswasuma program. He was commenting on the Aswasuma beneficiary list recently unveiled. Parliamentarian Jagat Kumar said that needful people have not been included in the list. He further said that some wealthy people whose family members are serving in foreign countries have been included in the list. He said these issues were discussed at party levels and they hope to meet the president and request him to temporarily halt the beneficiary program. Parliamentarian Charles Nirmalanathan said that a similar situation can be witnessed in the Mannar district. He said that poor people who were cut off from the beneficiary list are now protesting. Parliamentarian Nirmalanathan also requested the government to suspend the program. Parliamentarian Rohita Abegunawardena points out that International Monetary Fund expects that Sri Lankan government would provide Aswasuma benefits to the poor people genuinely. He further revealed that even some people who are suffering from chronic kidney disease have also been cut off from the beneficiary list.
මේකට ඉතා ඉක්මනින් හරිනම් වැඩපිළිවෙලක් ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන්න කියලා. එහෙම නොවේ නම් වෙන්නේ මේ රටේ සැබෑ දුප්පතුන් කියන මිනිස්සු තාම අසරණ තත්ත්වයටපත් වෙනවා.
ලර්න් ඒෂියා එක කියනවා.
Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa said that according to a recent survey, the number of Sri Lanka's poor people has increased from 3 to 7 million. He said under the new beneficiary scheme, only 1.2 million receive real benefits.
ඉතිරි ලක්ෂ ප්‍රමාණය මේක ප්‍රශ්නයක් කරගන්නවා.
අඩුපාඩුකම් සමීක්ෂණයක
Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena pointed out the government will pay a keen attention on all the issues related to the Aswasuma beneficiary program. He said only poor people can receive these benefits and they will investigate whether some rich people also receive the benefits under this program. Replying to all the inquiries, State Minister of Finance Shehan Semasinghe said only a temporary list has been recently unveiled. He stressed that it is not the permanent list. State Minister further said that if there are complaints about the people who were included in the current list, they can be forwarded to the respective divisional secretariats. Then the district secretaries will appoint committees to investigate these complaints. People, those who are not subjected to any complaint, could receive Aswasuma benefits from next month. He further said that if there are complaints about political influences, those allegations will also be investigated. President Ranil Wickremesinghe points out the need to act in a proper and effective manner to face the challenges, including the debt restructuring process of the middle-income countries.
The President made these remarks participating in top-level discussions held in the sidelines of the summit on new global financial agreement started in Paris yesterday.
So what is your view about the restructuring process and what would you consider to be the main bottlenecks?
When Sri Lanka was declared bankrupt as a MIC, we were not eligible under the common framework for debt restructuring. We had limited access to concessionary financing and there was a complete loss of external financing. Therefore, Sri Lanka's response was to take ownership of this program, both for debt restructuring as well as the economic restructuring needed for growth. Then we negotiated our conditionalities with the IMF and the creditors. So it's like we were working on a menu. The argument of what are the items that should get on and what are the items that could be taken off. I think we had agreement actually to about 90% of the items. So we own it as much as the IMF is. Of course, we had two exceptional situations. One is that India came to our help and that was nearly $4 billion available when no other source of funding was available. Secondly, through the World Bank and the ADB, we went through the process of reverse graduation. So the gain became entitled to concessionary funding. But from the time we declared ourselves bankrupt, it was a delay on bureaucracy on both sides. We delayed And if we had funding by May, the upheavals of July could have been avoided. But anyway, we had the upheavals of July. We went in immediately as it settled down. By September, we had a staff level agreement, but it took us another 6 months for agreement to come before we got any monetary assistance. So we undertook significant economic reform that imposed pain on the population, but without any predictability. We did the staff level agreement came last September. By November, we had the climate prosperity plan, which we announced at COP27. Now, it's been followed up by Sri Lanka's growth agenda for a highly competitive green economy. So our financial needs, both official and private, has virtually quadrupled. So that's the problem others also have to face. Then I would say, following the conclusion of negotiation of the IMF and the successful approval of the EFF, we have had no roadmap to follow regarding the next phase of debt restructuring. So before we can get the next tranche from the IMF. So it's a question of us now mapping the road out. But the data-led approach was the key to our success. It was our program, not an IMF program. Secondly, we found sponsor for us among the official creditor community. That helps. Thirdly, you have to be very pragmatic when you are implementing it. I am not sure that a binding framework like the common framework would have rendered the process quicker or more efficient. The approach for a middle income country would be to move. If you have a common framework, what happens is we move as fastest as the slowest creditor. So we get tied down. So that's why we're not in favor of a common framework. We were able to create traction with the most committed creditors, raising the general quality and efficiency of the process. Because we are still frustrated by the lack of process. The cost for us, economic and social, has been very high. Now, as far as the creditors, our creditors include the Paris Club and the non-Paris Club members, of which India and Hungary, India and China are two of our main creditors. Japan from the Paris Club. So we've attempted and to establish an ad hoc platform for the official creditors, including the Paris Club members and others. India, Hungary, others came on to participate in the ad hoc platform. China participated as observers. We shared the information with all parties on an open transaction, transparent process. Then I must thank IMF. With the intervention of the IMF and Sri Lanka's coordination, we are dealing with both groups. So what else helped us was that Sri Lanka had ongoing negotiations with Japan, India and China separately regarding further trade integration and also some of the development programs for the future. This assisted our process.
The Kanda Surinduvandana Batipudha Harasara program will commence from today to the 2nd of next month. Accordingly, the motorcade that brings the divine ornaments and statues from Velvatithurai to the Katharagama sacred city commenced its journey today.
රටක් පුබුදන රයිගම් දෙවැනි එක 100% සහල් නූල්
official media sponsor Titanic Rupavahini. Tonight is the edition of the annual Asala Festival at the Ruhunu Mahakataragama Devalaya. Procession tonight is to be started at about 7:45 p.m. after finishing all rituals and customs. About 12 tuskers and elephants are going to be marching in the procession. Calling upon God's Kanda is going to be done by Tusker Kandula of Kalani Rajamahavihara. As for the performances that are going to be in the procession tonight, there's going to be about 30 to 35 items that were added to tonight's lineup. So if you study them carefully during the procession, you will be able to separately identify the cultural elements as well as the traditional elements. So for the cultural elements, we have the dances such as Udrata, Pahatarata and Sabargamu, which were added later on. And then we have the traditional elements such as the solemn walk of the Sri Lankan indigenous population community, which is linked to the folk belief that Goddess Valiyamma, consort of God's Kanda, is a princess of indigenous descent. So after the first 5 days, the procession is subjected to some changes with even more items added to the lineup every day. So as to what they are remains a surprise. Stay tuned to find out more.
Many constantly direct their attention to various avenues in order to earn US dollars at present.
Among these avenues, crafting jewelries by embedding ashes of the loved ones has become a global trend and has a massive demand in the foreign markets. Sri Lanka's gem and jewelleries industry has a history of more than 3,000 years. Sri Lankans have shown unique and exceptional skills in crafting jewelleries, tiaras, crowns and even statues since the ancient times until the modern present. Some have preference to wear jewelleries embedded with ashes of their loved ones to keep their memories closer to them. Even though Sri Lanka shows no much interest in this trend, there is a massive demand for these jewelleries in regions such as Europe and the Middle East. Sri Lanka's RKS Lanka Private Limited is considered as one of the pioneering jewellery manufacturers in the world to craft such jewelleries.
We started to make jewelry, silver jewelry. Silver jewelry we made for worldwide. We made for Europe, for Germany, for America, for all countries. The people was very excited about our quality. So then we started to make more jewelry. Even we make some urns for Europe, urns where they put the ash inside in the urn, in the ash from after people died, they put the ash. And then we made it for Europe, and we quite successful with it ash jewelry. But also we make some other jewelry, what you see here, for Middle East, and also especially for America.
This company also produces many jewelleries from pure silver targeting the foreign markets. Accordingly, the company has been able to earn foreign exchange worth $1.5 million every year to the country. Close to 70 workers have been employed with 25A company. This is also the only company in Sri Lanka as well as in Asia to use nanotechnology to produce jewellery.
Will be between 2 and 2.5 million, but we want to do much more. I want to extend the factory as we are in the free trade zone, and we have a big help from BOI, and then we want to employ more people. We want to be the number one. We already in the quality the number one in the silver jewelry here. Nobody can beat us. We even want to be better than the Chinese, much better than Indian jewelry. So everybody should know in the world, when you need top quality silver jewelry, come to RKS Lanka. We write made in Sri Lanka. Everything it's made in Sri Lanka.
The Court of Appeal issued an interim order suspending an order issued by Colombo Magistrates Court granting room for the Road Development Authority to demolish the Samdali temple located in Baseline Road, Urugudawata.
The Court of Appeal issued this order considering a writ petition filed by the chief incumbent of the temple, Venerable Halmilla Kulame Sujata Janatera. The petition was considered by appeal court judges Sobita Rajakaruna and A. Marikkar. Respondents of the writ petition are the Road Development Authority and several other individuals. The Colombo Magistrates Court had earlier given permission to the Road Development Authority to demolish this temple located at the access to the old Avisavela Road at the Urugodavatta Junction. The Ministry of Transport and Highways issuing an announcement says that the minister has no influence with the Colombo Magistrates Court order to demolish the temple. The ministry points out that this temple has been constructed illegally, obstructing the Urugodavatta Junction close to the Colombo-Katunayaka Highway entrance. The Road Development Authority had filed a complaint to the Colombo Magistrates Court in 2021 requesting to release this block of land to construct the proposed highway on pillars. The Colombo Additional Magistrate had also issued a fiscal order to demolish the buildings located in this block of land that belongs to the Road Development Authority. As the relevant parties did not respond positively to this court order, the Colombo Magistrates Court had again issued orders on the 23rd of March and on the 21st of June this year. The Ministry of Highways says that according to the fiscal order, the relevant parties should demolish these buildings before the 7th of July this year. The ministry further points out that Minister Bandula Gunawardena had not been appointed as the subject minister at the time of commencement of court procedure.
Now, Minister Prasanna Ranatunga says that the future development activities in the country will be implemented under the fiscal plan.
The relevant draft bill over this plan has already been handed over to the President. The minister stated these facts at a press briefing held today at the President's Media Division. Minister Prasanna Ranatunga said that the country's future development activities will be carried out in accordance with the National Physical Plan. The minister disclosed that the draft of the National Physical Plan has been submitted to President Ranil Wickremesinghe. He further stated that the plan will be reviewed by the public and presented to the Cabinet before taking necessary measures for its approval. Emphasizing the alignment with President Ranil Wickremesinghe's vision for the country's development by 2048, Minister Prasanna Ranatunga highlighted that the National Physical Plan will serve as a blueprint for various key development initiatives. Today is the second day of the National Industry Exhibition jointly organized by the Ministry of Industries and Industrial Development Board.
A huge crowd, including school students, visited the exhibition today. The exhibition will be held at the BMICH premises until the 28th of this month. Micro, small, medium and large-scale entrepreneurs representing 20 industrial sectors have set up 750 stalls at this exhibition. Among the objectives of this exhibition, encouraging industrialists and innovative products, introducing new technology, creating market opportunities and formulating a network of local and foreign entrepreneurs, suppliers, buyers and other relevant parties. Providing facilities for new entrepreneurs to start new ventures is also an objective of this event. Motivating women and youth entrepreneurs for more businesses is also the aim of this exhibition. And we have more news from home in brief. Memorandum of Understanding was signed between the Ministry of Mass Media and the Lake House today. Secretary to the Ministry Anusha Palpita, Additional Secretaries DLUP Piris and EMBS Jayasundara signed it on behalf of the Ministry, and Legal Director Janaka Ranatunga, Editorial Board Director Sisira Parnathantri and General Manager Sumit Kotalavala signed for the Lake House. Developing the Lake House as an entity accountable for people, enhancing financial and personal management and many other factors have been included in the Memorandum of Understanding. It has also planned to reduce its staff up to 900 this year and further reduce up to 800 workers next year. The report was launched in Colombo yesterday on mass graves in Sri Lanka and unsuccessful explorations. A documentary film was also screened in line with this event. This has been jointly organized by Human Rights and Development Center, International Center for Ethnic Studies and members of the families of missing persons. A book titled Giragga Sammaja, written by Nuan Gammanpilla, was launched yesterday at the Tharangani Hall in the National Film Corporation under the patronage of Minister Kanchana Wijesekara. Chief incumbent of the historic Budulena Raja Mahavihara in Palmadula, Venerable Patkada Sri Vimalaratna Thera requested the authorities to remove a granite quarry located near the temple. Villagers of the area say that the quarry has posed a threat to the buildings of the temple and the houses nearby. A book of memories of late Senior Administrative Officer Arya Ratna Hevage was launched in Colombo yesterday. President's Secretary Saman Ekanaika, Prime Minister Secretary Anura Dissanayake and many others were present at the occasion.
So in further news, more than 30 migrants may have drowned after their boat sank in the Atlantic Ocean off the Canary Islands. It was reported that the boat was carrying around 60 people. Spanish authorities said rescue workers found the bodies of a minor and a man and rescued 24 other people, but did not know how many people were on board. The incident places fresh scrutiny on Europe's response to migration after a boat sank off Greece last week. The boat sank about 160 kilometers southeast of Gran Canaria. And that's a wrap of local news. Stay tuned for foreign news after this break.
வெளிநாட்டிலிருந்து பணத்தை மக்கள் வங்கிக்கு அனுப்பி வாராந்தம் 1 லட்சம் ரூபாய், மாதாந்தம் 1 மில்லியன் ரூபாய், ஆண்டிறுதியில் மாபெரும் சீட்டெழுப்பில் 1 கோடி ரூபாயினை வெல்லுங்கள். பீப்பிள்ஸ் ரெமிட்டன்ஸ் கோடி அதிர்ஷ்டம். நேரடியாக அனுப்புங்கள், பெரும் வெற்றி காணுங்கள்.
මානුවර පොත්දැක්ම 2023 ජූලි 26 සිට ජූලි 2 වෙනිදා දක්වා පෙරවරු 9 සිට පස්වරු 7 තෙක් කැන්ඩි සිටි සෙන්ටරෙහිදී සංවිධානය ශ්‍රී ලංකා පොත් ප්‍රකාශකයින්ගේ සංගමය.
Welcome back on Foreign News. Britain's public sector net debt in May was larger than gross domestic product for the first time in 62 years. According to data released from the UK Office for National Statistics, excluding that of the state banks, public sector net debt came in at £2.5 trillion, equivalent to 100.1% of the country's GDP, the UK's largest independent producer of official statistics and the recognized National Statistical Institute of the UK. It is the first time that the debt to GDP ratio surpassed 100% since March 1961. The statistics have showed that the government in May borrowed £20.04 billion, higher than indicated at the additional cost of energy.
And on sports news for tonight, Sri Lanka recorded an easy win against Oman in the ICC World Cup qualifiers today. The match was played in Bulawayo in Zimbabwe.
Batting first, Oman team could only score 98 runs in 30.2 overs and Khan scored 41 runs. Malindu Hasaranga claimed 5 wickets for 13 runs. In reply, Sri Lanka team passed the victory target in 15 overs for no loss. Dimut Karnaraka scored 61 not out and Pathum Nisanka scored 37 not out. Man of the match was Malindu Hasaranga.
Now, the annual cricket tournament organised by Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation was held yesterday at the Shalika grounds in Narayanpeta. The aim of this event is to enhance mutuality amongst staff members. Director General of Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation, Asanga Jailath, and top officials were present at the opening ceremony.
20 men's teams and 6 women's teams participated in this tournament. Men's preliminary matches were played under league system. General Programs Division became women's champions by defeating the Finance Division in the final match. Matches of the men's team were very competitive and News Camera Division became the champions with an easy win against the Power and Air Condition Maintenance Division team. Prasad Niroshan won both Man of the Final match and Man of the Tournament. An exhibition match was also played by executive officers.
And that's all the news for tonight. Join us again at the same time tomorrow.